You're watching KCRG TV9. Now, from your 24-hour news source, this is KCRG TV9 News at 6.
So it increases the chances that the child's recovered quickly and safely.
Coming up on the KCRG TV9 News at 6, keeping children safe. A child ID event in Dubuque is striving to keep more children here from disappearing. Some people in Iowa City protest traffic cameras after state lawmakers have chosen to keep them in place. How their efforts played out amid the rain. But we start off tonight with new details in an overnight stabbing in Waterloo. Someone stabbed a man there as a result of a domestic situation last night. Around 10 p.m., police were called out to 429 Saxon Street in Waterloo. That's just off U.S. Highway 63 on the city's east side. Investigators say a suspect stabbed a man in the stomach. The victim is expected to survive. Police have not announced any arrests at this time. Now from Owine, police arrested 10 people in connection to a drug ring there. Police arrested the first 2 people on Friday morning as officers searched a home on East Charles Street. Kobe Ewens and Bridget Nicolay, both of Owine, are charged with drug-related crimes. Investigators say they made 8 other arrests throughout the area in what they're calling the drug ring. Owine police arrested 5 men and 5 women ranging from age 21 to age 49. Police are still looking for 39-year-old Renee Snee and 24-year-old Alejandro Trevino, both of Owine. Police arrested a Des Moines student who brought a gun and ammunition to school on Friday. Lincoln High School's principal says a 16-year-old student brought the handgun to school on a dare. Police confiscated the gun and took him to juvenile court. High school officials say that the school was never put on lockdown because they did not feel the school was in danger.
We were able to lay eyes on that student immediately and follow that student until we got into a secure location, and so we were able to deal with the situation then.
The school's principal says the teenager will be expelled. A woman who sued the University of Iowa has lost her appeal for a new trial. Teresa Wagner claims she was passed over for promotion starting in 2006 because she is a Republican. The federal court found last year the university did not discriminate against her. No snow today, but plenty of rain. The streets flowing with this March moisture. We'll bring in meteorologist Justin Gertz with the first alert forecast. Justin.
Yeah, we've seen some pretty decent rainfall totals across the area so far today, to the tune of about ½ an inch to an inch for many of us. A few of us a little bit more, a few of us a little bit less. Area River is not seeing much response from that. However, some of the creeks, such as Clear Creek, we're seeing a little bit of a rise. Some of those other areas, Morgan Creek, also dealing with that. You can see on Pinpoint Operator, all this rain is lifting off toward the north and east, so a soggy evening is ahead of us. Also a winter storm watch for Sunday evening through Monday. We'll talk about that, but just wanted to give you the heads up a little bit down the road. Otherwise, as we take a look at temperatures, upper 30s, kind of a cool evening ahead of us, and the rain showers continue overnight tonight. Temperatures fairly steady in the upper 30s as we go along, so not a big change, but certainly kind of one of those dreary evenings ahead of us. We'll talk about that in a bit more detail, as well as the snowfall forecast coming up in just a little bit. Chris?
Thank you, Justin. We'll look forward to that. When Blackhawk County cousins Lyric Cook and Elizabeth Collins went missing last summer, many parents here found themselves asking, what if my child went missing? Today in Dubuque, relatives of the cousins organized a child identification fair. KCRG TV9 Dubuque reporter Katie Wiedemann is live in Dubuque. And Katie, hundreds of families showed up there to participate. Why such a large turnout today?
Well, Chris, as you know, so many people were interested in hearing about the girl's story, including the cousins' relatives who live here in Dubuque. And today, that family teamed up with the Mason organization to help honor their memory. Hundreds of families packed into the Masonic Temple in downtown Dubuque. Volunteers took DNA samples, fingerprints, and photo IDs. They also recorded video of each child. All of that digital information is burned onto a disc for the parents to keep on file. The Dubuque Masons borrowed all of this equipment from their fellow Masons in South Dakota. The Masons also offered kids advice about the best ways to keep themselves out of trouble, or whatever happens, the best thing they can do if they're abducted.
If you're put into a car, spit on the back of the car seat, hike up your shirt and roll around just a little bit to help get some of your scent all over.
They say the more DNA a child can leave behind if they're abducted, the better, and the more likely the police will be of finding them. And we'll have much more on all of that coming up on the KCRG TV9 News at 10. Live in Dubuque, Katie Wiedemann, KCRG TV9 News.
Thank you, Katie. Traffic cameras have been in place throughout many Iowa cities for years. Of course, not everyone likes them for various reasons. Holding soggy signs and shouting at passing drivers, some in Iowa City were urging people to sign a petition today. They need 2,500 valid signatures by April the 1st. If they reach this number, the petition would move to the City Council to help ban traffic cameras, and the council could either adopt a ban on traffic cameras or the city would vote on the ordinance in November.
I want to maintain the freedom we have. I don't want to lose another single inch, and we're going to work hard, and this represents something that's really important to a lot of different people for a lot of reasons.
Even if they do gather enough signatures, the city attorney says the city council does not have to act. This is because it is outside of the allowable time period for reviewing the matter. There are currently no traffic cameras set up and operating in Iowa City. The petition comes after a bill to ban traffic cameras in the state of Iowa was rejected, a bill that would force local governments to justify why they need the cameras, and that did not survive in the state legislature this week. Despite the camera ban dying, the bill for it in the state legislature in the funnel deadline, plenty of other bills are still alive and under consideration. A few of them, tax credits, the large budget surplus would be returned to Iowans, could be worth potentially hundreds of dollars for some taxpayers. A bill that would allow Iowans to pay a flat tax rate of 4.5% regardless of income level, still alive. Another would make all records of who owns and carries firearms confidential information and eliminating the ability to vote for a single party in a straight ticket ballot. 4th District Republican Steve King will start polling Iowans as he considers whether or not to run for the open Senate seat in 2014. He says after he looks at the responses, he will then make a choice in the coming weeks. Iowa will have its first truly open Senate seat in decades, as Tom Harkin will not be running for re-election next year. 1st District Democrat Bruce Braley has already announced that he will run for the Senate seat. One programming note, not for television, but for your life. Daylight savings time hits overnight, so move all of your clocks, watches, and other assorted timepieces ahead 1 hour. If this is not done, you'll be an hour late for everything tomorrow, unless you travel to Hawaii, Arizona, or parts of Saskatchewan. Of course, moving the clocks, again, 1 hour ahead this evening. Otherwise, you'll just be a wreck tomorrow. Spring break is almost here for University of Iowa students. There were some elements of spring break in Iowa City today. The nearly naked mile was not run in the heat of South Padre or Panama City, but the drizzle of Iowa City. Plus, must-win basketball. Lose once in Nebraska during a season, that damages your NCAA tournament chances. Lose twice, say goodbye for the year. Iowa trying to knock off the Huskers in a must-win. Stay here with TV9.
Live from your 24-hour news source in high definition, Chris Earl, Charlene Malin, and Josh Christensen Sports. This is KCRG TV9 News at 6.
About 350 University of Iowa students and others ran a mile with barely any clothes on. Who needs the polar plunges when the annual Nearly Naked Mile brings out hundreds? TV9's Nadia Crow shows us why, despite the rainy and chilly Saturday, hundreds did run for this local youth organization.
And they were off.
A mile was just enough for this time of day.
That's because of the limited amount of clothing to cover each runner's body in less than perfect weather.
Despite, whether it's raining or cold, people understand that it's only a mile to make a difference for so many people.
These University of Iowa students and alumni donated the clothes they wore to the event and then ran in next to nothing.
So after this, all of the clothes will be transported to their, base, and we will help them out with the clothing drive next week.
And not having clothes is one thing many of the kids at the youth group know all too well.
Who can't really afford to go out and shop and get new clothes like some of us who are more fortunate are able to.
This drive usually brings in some 2,000 pounds of clothes. Clothes so kids who are dealing with teen pregnancy or unstable home lives can feel better and have one less thing to worry about.
Kids weren't wanting to go to school because they didn't have either enough clothes or the sort of cool popular brands, and they were just not wanting to go, and it was just like we can do something about this.
So a partnership with the university and its brave students strides past the finish line of another successful year.
It's a small sacrifice, very small, and it's great that we can all donate clothes to those less fortunate and help out someone that is in need.
In Iowa City, Nadia Crow, KCRG TV9 News.
And to follow up, a clothing drive for the United Action for Youth will take place this Wednesday afternoon starting at 3:30. People in Cedar Falls today stepped into the shoes of those who may not have the resources to feed themselves with a global look. The University of Northern Iowa's Political Science Society hosted its hunger banquet this afternoon. Organizers divided people into 3 groups of low, medium, and high income categories. Some were fortunate enough to be in the high income group and were served a 3-course meal at tables. Others in the low income group sat on the floor with a meager meal of rice and bread.
I just want people to realize the disparities between different people around the world when it comes to food, and how lucky we are and how unlucky some other people are, purely on arbitrary reasons. And hopefully they might want to take action and get involved.
Leaders hope to encourage students and others to do just that, get involved and learn more about the global food distribution issues that are out there. The cold snap is done now, with lots of rain washing away the snow on our sidewalks. We'll bring in meteorologist Justin Gertz to look at what's ahead. Justin.
Washing away the snow just in time to bring in some more. Go figure. Well, at least we have had some rain out there. A lot of it is running off thanks to the fairly frozen ground, but check out these numbers. 8/10, even over an inch in some areas, and we're going to add more onto that tonight and tomorrow. Complete look at your first alert forecast is coming up next. Stay with TV9.
Now the first alert forecast with meteorologist Justin Gertz.
It has been a rainy day out there, and the rain is set to continue as we go throughout the nighttime hours tonight and really tomorrow as well. Now, there are going to be some breaks and lulls out there. In fact, areas northwest of Waterloo not seeing too much right now, but basically from Dubuque through Cedar Rapids and Iowa City down toward Ottumwa, there is a steady stream of rain moving overhead. Hasn't really been much in the way of thunderstorm activity, but I wouldn't be surprised if we may hear 1 or 2 rumbles of thunder yet this evening. Otherwise, it's a chilly rain, 38 degrees in Cedar Rapids, 37 in Iowa City. We're at 35 in Dubuque right now and 37 in Decorah, but these numbers not going to be moving much tonight or tomorrow thanks to those thick clouds and really no big changes in the weather situation. Now, there is an area of low pressure back out toward our south and west. That's going to be dipping southward a little bit, then coming back up north of St. Louis toward Chicago. Now, the track of this is such that as cooler air wraps back into this thing, we should change over to some snow as we head toward tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. However, it's not going to stick around very long. So as a result, I don't expect particularly high snowfall totals, but what is out there is going to have an impact because it's going to be a very wet, soggy snow. Here's Pinpoint Futurecast in the meantime, starting off at 7 this evening, showing those areas of rain out there, and those will continue overnight tonight. Moving ahead toward 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, as I mentioned, there may be some breaks and lulls out there, but certainly rain is going to be likely, at least off and on during the day on Sunday. Going to move ahead towards 7 o'clock, close to sunset. We start to see that changeover from rain to snow happening mainly in our northwestern communities. The farther east you are, probably still going to be rain at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. But notice what happens during the evening and overnight hours. That all changes over to snow, but by Monday morning, 8 a.m., it begins to ramp up, and I think a lot of the snow is going to be pretty much over with by noon on Monday. That said, the snow may be heavy at times, and at this point, it looks like a good 3 to 6 inches of snow is likely from Decorah back toward Waterloo, Tama, down toward Des Moines. Farther south and east, looks like 1 to 3 inches. Now, keep in mind, this is, as always, subject to change. It may move a little bit, but it looks like at this point, the heaviest snowfall is going to be mainly in the northwestern half of the TV9 viewing area. So here's your first alert forecast for tonight. Temperatures, as I mentioned, not really moving a whole lot from where we are right now. Upper 30s going to be pretty common. Rain and some areas of fog pretty likely out there. Southeast winds right around 5 to 15 miles an hour. Moving ahead toward tomorrow, still those temperatures not budging too much. Looking at upper 30s to near 40, 38 degrees in Waterloo. Rain for most of the day, then a mix or some snow late in the day. Winds out of the north at 15 to 25 miles an hour, so it is going to be pretty blustery out there. Moving ahead toward tomorrow, again upper 30s. Then as we head toward Monday, the snow ends early in the day with highs right around 33 degrees. Tuesday, mostly cloudy and 36. But then after that, things slowly warm back up. 38 degrees on Wednesday, 43 on Thursday, and 45 Friday and Saturday. So just like this last snowfall we had at the beginning of the week, we melted away, and then there's more that comes down. Looks like we're going to have more melting happening later on this week. But certainly, snow is going to be an issue Sunday night. And even in those areas that don't get a whole lot, it's going to be that very slippery stuff that it doesn't take much for things to get pretty unpleasant out there. So keep that in mind Sunday night and Monday morning.
A little dicey and sideways as it all comes in. Thank you, Justin. Josh joins us now. Look at that. Hawkeyes made it to 9-9, made it to even on 500.
That's pretty good. That's what they wanted, and as they had a pretty good showing. As you see, Eric May, the lone senior on the team, and he had a great day. We'll have the highlights. It's all next on your 24-hour news source, KCRG TV9.
Now, KCRG TV9 Sports with Josh Christensen.
The Hawkeyes were looking for some revenge against Nebraska in the final regular season game, and it was senior night as well. As you remember in the last meeting, the Hawkeyes had a 19-point lead that evaporated as Nebraska went on to win 64-60, but that didn't happen today. Scott Sable has the highlights from Carver Hawkeye Arena.
Walk-on Chris Rickard and the pride and joy of Dubuque-Wahlert, Eric May, were honored before the game on senior day. And May got the start today. The Hawks got off to a quick start. Adam Woodbury was scoring inside early. The big fella had 12. And then Devin Marble went over the 1,000-point mark with this tray to give Iowa a 10-1 lead.
It's not going to hit me until I'm gone. Like, I didn't really think about it that much, you know. It is a good accomplishment.
And balance scoring from the Hawks again today. Melson Basabi with the bucket and one. He had 11. And then Zach McCabe with the great look to Aaron White for the Flesh for 2 of his 19. And the Hawks led 32-23 at the break. The senior Eric May got the Hawks started in the second half with this jumper. And how about back-to-back flushes from White and Gabe Olashany, and the Hawks led by 10. But Nebraska came back. This Dylan Talley 3 cut the lead to 2. Iowa answered with a 3 of their own from Josh Oglesby. And then Olashany throws one down again, and it turned into a dunk fest. The Hawkeyes pulled away for the 74-60 win to finish 9-9 in the Big Ten, 20-11 overall. May went out a winner. Marble joins his pop in the 1,000 club, and Coach McCaffrey gets win number 300.
You know, been fortunate enough to work for really good people, and most importantly, have really terrific players, you know, that played for me.
I think at the end of that game is when it really sunk in. Just, you know, last time you hear the crowd of Carver cheering for you, you know, I'm going to miss that.
Eric was a great captain all year, you know, and the run's not over for him. You know, we still want to play a lot more games, and it was just a good atmosphere, a good night to send him off.
From Carver Hawkeye, Scott Sable, TV9 Sports.
Thanks, Scott. The Hawkeyes will face Northwestern in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. That will be on Thursday at 8 o'clock in Chicago. Meanwhile, the Iowa State men's basketball team also played its final regular season game. The Cyclones were on the road at West Virginia. Iowa State won the first meeting in a close one, 69-67. The Cyclones just dominated the first half. Will Clyburn with the drive, finishes with the left hand. Cyclones are up 22-10. Then later on, it's Corey Lucius from downtown. All twined. Cyclones up by 15. They're looking pretty good. They keep the offense going. Clyburn working down low. He's going to make a nice move inside for the reverse layup. He had a double-double with 27 points and 10 rebounds. Cyclones led 44-20 at halftime. Corey Lucius just didn't miss from three-point range. He had 5 of those for 21 points. That puts the Cyclones up by 25. They had 14 total three-pointers on the day. George Niang for 3 of his 14. But remember last time how West Virginia made a comeback? They did so again, cutting the lead down to 4 here. They're going to get the steal. Terry Henderson finishes with the jam. Like I said, that cuts it to 4, but Iowa State would make its free throws in the end to win in a close one, 83-74. The high school boys state tournament continues today with the Class 3A and 4A championships. In 4A, Iowa City West is looking to win its 2nd consecutive title. The Trojans are also on a 51-game winning streak. The undefeated Trojans will take on undefeated Bettendorf at 8:05 on KCRG 9.2. It's the first time since 1975 2 unbeaten 4A teams will face each other in the championship.
And I'd be willing to play somebody that hadn't won a game yet, actually, but it's going to be fun. I know Coach Clark, you know, Kevin Skillett and I go way back, and we scrimmage them at Christmas. It'll be fun. Our guys know each other. Some of them play AAU together. It'll be a long night for the coaches trying to figure out a game plan, but we'll get her done.
In Class 3A, Waverly Shell Rock will take on Harlan in the championship. The Gohawks come in with a 19-game winning streak and are looking for their first state title since 2007. This game is just about to get underway, or probably is underway. Once again, you can see all the games on KCRG 9.2. We'll also have highlights at 10 o'clock. College Wrestling Big Ten Tournament. Here are the results after the first session. Iowa leads the way with 79. Penn State in second place. The Hawkeyes had 9 wrestlers advance to the semifinals. The semis are going on right now in the Big 12. Right now, it's Missouri leading the way, Iowa State trailing with 24 points. And in UNI basketball, Illinois State defeats UNI women's basketball 66-61. And in the 3rd round of the Cadillac Championship, not a good day for Zach Johnson. Shot a 77, tied for 36. Tiger on fire, 67, -18 for the tournament.
Hawkeye forward Aaron White, I think he was wearing suspenders in the post game. See, when you're winning and you've won 5 of 7, you can do the 1987
there you
stockbroker
go.
look, and people will think that you're
There you
colorful
go.
because you're winning.
Yeah. Do you get the shoulder pads though too?
I'm not sure necessarily about that, but I like where they're at. I'm convinced, though, if they win 2 next week in the Big Ten tournament, I think that they're in. I think they have to be in with 2 wins.
I think they got the seeding that they wanted to against Northwestern. That's probably the matchup they want.
But more than anything, it's so encouraging to see this program is coming back with a capital
They've
T.
really played well as of late. That's what you want.
Thanks, Josh. Justin has a final check of the forecast. Keep it here with KCRG TV9. Dealt with the rain for just about all of today, but more is to come tomorrow, except it'll just be a little thicker.
Exactly, and we'll have some of that snow happening tomorrow night as well. Now, for the time being, just some showers out there, kind of like what we had throughout the day. Some of those creeks running a little bit higher. Main River still just fine. Temperatures fairly steady, upper 30s for this evening and overnight. Staying that way tomorrow. Then we change over to wintry mix and snow tomorrow. Heaviest accumulations Des Moines up toward Waterloo. 3 to 6 inches there, 1 to 3 elsewhere.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Josh. And thank you so much for joining us for the KCRG TV9 News at 6. We do appreciate you being here. And do come on back tonight, if you would, for the TV9 News at 10. If not, set the clocks ahead. Have a great night.